September, and I'm kind of looking forward to, showing off a little bit. That'll be kind of cool. I can actually wear clothes that I've had tucked away for years. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm getting a little cocky.
It's okay to get a little cocky when you've lost a lot of weight with Awaken 180 weight loss because you did it the right way. Eating healthy food, but eating smarter. Working with a coach who customizes the approach to you. Unlike all these fad treatments for weight loss that you hear so much about in the news, with Awaken 180 weight loss, all you put into your body is delicious, healthy food. Make your consultation today, 844-346-1800. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, baby, and welcome back. It is a pleasure to be here. I hope all of you are having a wonderful week. I know the weather is fine outside. I've got plenty of news and plenty of views to get into today. Some national stuff to get into because, of course, there's a new book coming out that's talking about everything that we already knew. It's called Original Sin by the author Jake Tapper, who is also the not just the author of the book, but also a anchor over at CNN. And I got to do an entire breakdown of all of this nonsense that took place with the Biden administration. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that today. And I don't know what anyone really thinks of Biden's time as president of the United States. I don't know. I know there are some people who are outraged at it, thought the whole thing was a scam, thought that it was a scandal. You'd be right on the scandal part. It is the biggest political scandal of a lifetime. It is, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I'm here to tell everyone who's talked about it, argued about it, been dismayed about it, even those who have defended it, that it is not over. And it will never be over until heads roll. It should never be over for the Democrat Party. And it won't be. And let me just put it this way. And if I could give some advice to those of you who know what took place, who know that the American people were hoodwinked, you should never let anyone who tries to dismiss it get away with it. If someone tells you, oh, man, no. We are never going to forget, nor should we, because here's why they want you to forget. They want you to forget so they can lie about it. I'll give you a perfect example. A successful lie of a political party has people believing that the Democrat Party is the party that revolutionized the Civil Rights Act. A deceitful Democrat Party will tell you that the party switched in the 1960s. A deceitful Democrat Party will make a constituency forget that they were the party who fought in a civil war for slavery. A Democrat Party is a party that would put in the news media, an obvious Democrat and put on the lower third chyron on your TV screen an R next to their name. Everybody knows it. Is this Democrat Party and this current news media one that would tell you that George Wallace was a Republican in the Jim Crow South? Yes, it is. You know it is. So the reason why they want you to forget is so that later on in life they can pretend it never happened or it didn't remember as you recall. That's how they get away with it. They scream and holler at you, come on, what are we still talking about that for? You keep talking about that, this, that, and the third's going to happen. If you keep bringing it up, you're going to turn people off. Remember they used to say that about independent voters? You guys keep talking about the 2020 election, you'll never win another one. You guys keep talking about the culture wars. You're never going to win a general election. You guys keep making it about abortion. You guys are never going to win again. Remember that? That's why they want you to forget. And that's why I won't. See, when everybody else is sitting up there saying, oh, but you're boring me. I don't think so. When people want you to move on, it's because they don't want to take responsibility. That's never going to happen here. So let us begin. And I think it's important that we start where we are and travel back in time. So all of us today, we're going to jump in our DeLoreans. We're going to get that speedometer up to 88 miles per hour. And we're going to travel back to 2020. Because the book that's supposed to be the most damaging is the one by Jake Tapper called Original Sin. Have you guys heard about it? Have you heard about this book? This is the book that's supposed to change it all. There have been excerpts that have been released. There are going to be some more that are released later on today, if not next week, before the book drops. I think on the 20th is the release date. But the book is called Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again, written by Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, who just recently won an award at the White House Correspondents' Dinner for Best of Journalism and some nonsense. Today, there is a campaign from Mediaite that is saying, why are they criticizing Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson? These guys did cover the Joe Biden decline. They didn't cover for Joe Biden. They actually talked about Joe Biden's decline, and we've got verifiable evidence of it. So I took them on and said, okay, let's see the evidence. Before I play it, let me break it down for you. What Mediaite exposed was Jake Tapper talking about Joe Biden's decline before the book came out. The dates in question that they pointed out were the only dates that I could find where Jake Tapper was inquisitive or critical. You are going to listen to those clips in their entirety because they're short. The first one is from September 9th of 2020, before the election of Joe Biden. The next one, 13 months later, October 11th of 2022. 7 months later after that, on May 7th of 23. August 29th of 23, just under 4 months later. December 4th of 2023, another 3 months. And then on February 8th and February 9th of 2024, 3 months after that. That was Jake Tapper's coverage of Joe Biden's so-called cognitive decline.
Will you pledge that if you're elected, you will be transparent about your health, all facets of your health,
with urgency so that we know.
Yes.
One poll shows that almost 2/3 of Democratic voters want a new nominee in 2024, and the top reason they gave was your age. You know, that's not a good number for President Biden. 2/3 of the American people say he's not sharp enough to be president. Okay, so you're part of the 23% of adults who are not concerned about the president's ability to be president because of his age and stamina. I mean, I know incumbents in general are not popular right now, but do you ever think maybe we should have a new candidate? This is a particularly bad week for this report and its comments about President Biden's faculties and his memory to come out, because twice this week he has acted as if he, in 2021, spoke to European leaders who have been dead for years. Part of the job of president is having the confidence of the American people in your faculties.
That's it. That is Jake Tapper's crucial, informative, and very probing interest in Joe Biden's cognitive decline. That's all of them. But I need to give a contrast to that, because Jake Tapper knows damn well that far more times he ran interference for Joe Biden and for Democrats. This is what Jake Tapper is saying today when he was interviewed by his own network, and who he believes is the blame for the hidden Joe Biden decline.
You have an entire White House press corps, though, following him around. And I'm just curious as to whether or not this kind of trying to hide what was happening with the president at the time had an impact on the press corps. Like, why didn't we hear some of these details from what they actually saw and were dealing with trying to get information?
Well, Alex Thompson and I were on the case, as were lots of other reporters, trying to figure out what was going on behind the scenes. But the bottom line is the White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public, but they were lying to members of their own cabinet. They were lying to White House staffers. They were lying to Democratic members of Congress, to donors, about how bad things had gotten. And in fact, Alex and I started writing this book after the election of 2024, and we spoke with more than 200 people, almost all of whom were Democrats, and almost all of whom wouldn't be honest with us or wouldn't be candid with us until after the election. And then after the election, we found out all of these things that when you looked at what was going on with President Biden at the time, it probably doesn't surprise you the extent to which he was deteriorating. But now we have anecdotes and facts about what was really going on behind the scenes, with details that Democrats wouldn't share with us until after Election Day.
Yeah, so the Democrats never shared anything with us, and they lied to us, and they lied to the American people, and even lied to staffers. Jake Tapper's got a book to sell. And he, again, forgets that yours truly, Reese on the Radio, kept very, very detailed video and audio clips of Jake Tapper running interference for Joe Biden. In fact, I spliced a few with that interview with some old ones where Jake Tapper was absolutely livid at any suggestion that Joe Biden was in decline. You'll remember the first one. This was him going after Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, when she said she thought there was cognitive decline, and Jake Tapper was referring to it as nothing more than a stutter.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no. I can't. That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline. President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right? Right. More so? Right. Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him. Exactly. I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster. Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. Sure. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercise in narcissism. I mean, false claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness. Well, Alex Thompson and I were on the case, as were lots of other reporters, trying to figure out what was going on behind the scenes. He's 81, and his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. The White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. Well, Alex Thompson and I were on the case, as were lots of other reporters, trying to figure out what was going on behind the scenes. They do note in the article that most of the criticism comes from Republicans. Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
The Russians are trying to make us and the public not trust our election integrity. Joe Biden has dementia, all this stuff. The White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public, but they were lying to members of their own cabinet. They were lying to White House staffers. They were lying to Democratic members of Congress, to donors, about how bad things had gotten.
Yeah, so it was all them. We, the media, we didn't do anything here. We didn't lie to anybody. There was nothing that Biden, we tried to cover all of this stuff, right? We tried to cover this, but the White House was lying to us. We were not a part of the cover-up.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. I can't even keep up with him.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
I can testify because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years. And I'm telling you, this guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
There's Democrats right there. No, he's fine. He's absolutely fine. And the press? What about the press? Did they play any role?
Biden is actually in good shape.
Right. Mentally, he's quite acute.
Any aide who engages with him or reporters, we can see this. The gears of his mind are working.
The right-wing media has so fixated on Biden and Biden purportedly having cognitive issues.
It's not just making an issue of Biden's age. It's lying. It's saying he's senile. It's saying he's demented, saying he's out of it.
Russian television has been filled with speculation about President Biden's age, about his mental state of mind.
That's an issue pushed by right-wing media, but it's not correct.
Yeah, Republicans on the other side have spent 4 years almost kind of weaponizing Biden's age against him. Trump is not that much younger than him.
Biden is just a couple of years older than Donald Trump.
Why so much attention on Biden's age? Trump isn't much younger.
This whole vein is really, really unseemly. I mean, ageism.
I'm going to say quite bluntly, there is some ageism going on here.
Yeah, I think there is some ageism going on.
Biden's personal physician wrote that he, quote, remains a healthy, vigorous 80-year-old male.
He is a healthy, vigorous 80-year-old male.
He had a good physical. His doctor says he's vigorous.
The reality is nothing like the dystopian picture that the Republicans are trying to paint of this senile, doddering president, and he's as sharp as a tack.
Every one of those people in that last clip were all media folks, all writers, all news folks, every one of them. Not a pundit, not somebody who's supposed to be like a surrogate for Joe Biden in the White House or in Washington. Every one of those people, if they didn't have a TV show, they've got an article or a column that they write. There are political wonks, every one of them. Democrats, every one of them carrying water for Biden, saying there's nothing wrong with this guy. The media played no role. They were lied to. They carried the water. And trust me, I'm not even halfway through the stuff I'm going to play. But we got to take a break. So we'll be back. More news, more views when we return. Stick around. It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Caring makes all the difference. Experience the care at the Bradley Home and Pavilion, where community and caring go hand in hand. As you arrive, a newly remodeled and updated facility awaits you with all of the amenities to provide a place of comfort, security, and peace of mind. The Bradley Home and Pavilion is the place to thrive and have fun. While the space has changed, a commitment to the best quality of life remains the same. The Bradley Home and Pavilion, where community and caring go hand in hand. Experience the care at thebradleyhome.org.
I'm Emma Greed, and I've spent the last 20 years building, running, and investing in some incredible businesses. The more success I've had, the more people started coming to me with questions. How do you start a business? How do you raise money? How do I bounce back from failure? On my new podcast, Aspire with Emma Greed, I'll be answering these questions and more through weekly conversations with the smartest minds out there. Listen to and follow Aspire with Emma Greed, an Odyssey podcast, available now, wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, where our erectile dysfunction treatments are shown to be effective in well over 90% of cases. Here is one of our patients, Bill, sharing his experience on our ED treatments.
My name's Bill, and I'm a patient at Northeast Men's Health. I suffered with ED for a couple of years, and I wasn't satisfied with my intimate life with my wife. If you have a problem, find a solution. If you have ED, seek out Northeast Men's Health. Go there. You've got nothing to lose. I am having good sex, but it's not just about the sex. Colors are brighter. My mood was brighter. I had more passion for everything in my life, not just sex, everything. I'm going to Northeast Men's Health. Go there, give it a try, meet the people there. They'll take care of you.
Thanks, Bill. It's true. If you're like most men, we'll help you get your sex life back. For just $99, you'll get a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call today, 800-930-5956, or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com.
And now, a WTIC news update.
74 degrees at 3:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. We've got, we'll call it a mix of clouds and sun. Temperatures making a run for the upper 70s this afternoon. Man accused in the beating death of his female roommate in Groton has died. The State Department of Correction says 68-year-old Donald Cofeld's death is not considered suspicious. He was arrested last month for the death of 58-year-old Suzanne Wormser. Her remains were found back in March at Colonel Ledyard Cemetery. A suspect was being treated for cancer. Police in Shelton have released the name of the person who died in a crash late Sunday night. Mandy Lassie was 37. Police say they responded to a two-vehicle crash at River Road and Montgomery Street just after 11 Sunday night. Lassie of Terryville was pronounced dead at Bridgeport Hospital. Later this afternoon, a vigil is planned for outside the church in Hartford where gunfire broke out last Friday during a funeral. The group Mothers United Against Violence is sponsoring that event. 3 people were injured in the melee. A suspect is facing assault and other charges. President Trump, in a speech in Saudi Arabia, has urged Iran to take a new and better path as he pushes for a new nuclear deal. At a U.S.-Saudi investment conference, the president said he wants to avoid conflict with Tehran. R&B singer Cassie has taken the witness stand in her ex-boyfriend Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial. Trial resumed today in Manhattan. Combs accused of forcing women, including Cassie, into drugged-up sex parties. She testified she was injured in multiple beatings by Combs. And former President Barack Obama is coming to Connecticut. He is scheduled to speak at a Connecticut Forum gathering at the Bushnell on June 19th. WTIC News Time 3:32. Here's the forecast.
For the rest of our Tuesday afternoon, lots of clouds around, but pleasant with the high up to 78. Cloudy skies tonight, remaining mild, the low down to 56. On Wednesday, lots of clouds around, a couple of showers, breezy, not as warm, but still pleasant temps, the high 69. Thursday, cloudy, we'll have a couple of showers around, the high of 74. A shower in spots on Friday morning, otherwise cloudy and warmer, the high of 81. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
From the WTIC 24-hour traffic network in Berlin, we got a one-vehicle crash. Route 9 south between exits 31 and 30, which has the right lane blocked. And beginning to see some delays build up in the Hartford area on 84 eastbound. As you approach exit 44, those extend out to exit 51. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Don't let a root canal scare you.
Columbia Dental's endodontic experts provide gentle and effective root canal therapy. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21. Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
At California Psychics, we know that sometimes you can wake up thinking,
I don't know if I'm in the right career. Or the right relationship.
but whatever your life dilemma, at California Psychics, we'll give you the guidance you need to feel certain about your life choices.
Hinton,
you with the very
Yes,
best,
sir.
we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. California Psychics. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com today for limited time offers.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
And we are back. It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC on this. It's Tuesday? Is it just Tuesday? I thought for some odd reason in these weeks, these days run by so fast, I'm already thinking that it's like we've ushered into Wednesday already. I don't know why. That's right. It's garbage day. That's the only way I know anything nowadays. Is I actually have to look at the chores that I have to do. So Tuesday is garbage day, so it must be Tuesday. I'm not going to be here. I might as well tell you now, if I haven't already. Friday, which is 3 Fridays from now, on the 30th, I'll be out. Because I'm going to the boys' graduation. What for? I have no idea. It's not like he's going off to school. It's going to take a year off to go find himself. So he'll be doing that. I guess figuring out what he's going to do with his life. Probably nothing, as kids do. What else can you do? 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Jim in Willington. Hey, Jim.
Hey, if he takes a year off, that's like putting $50,000 in the bank.
I guess, but
Think about
yes, but it only means I'm holding it over until he decides to go. So nothing, and don't forget, that money would only burn a hole in my pocket anyway. It's like, you know what, we'll save it up next time. I might spend it.
I hear you.
What's going on,
listen,
Jim?
You don't have to go any farther than this recent revelation. They came out with this lawsuit against ABC, the show The View, and some of the information that's come out concerning how they scripted everything, how they picked certain people to say certain things, how they threw race, misogyny, gender, you name it. They just threw everything in there trying to upset anybody on there that was a woman or a conservative, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Wait, hold on. What lawsuit is this? I missed this one. What are we talking about?
There was, I think it was Carolyn Levitt, had an $800 million lawsuit against ABC. And from what I understand, that lawsuit
is still pending?
I think that the judge let it go forward, and now ABC's in a massive panic because they don't have an insurance. Based on what happened, they don't have insurance to cover it. There's some particulars you'd have to look up.
Okay.
Not only that, but the people, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sonny
Houston, yeah.
They're all personally liable as well. Personally liable.
So, and that's crazy because, well, okay, now according to this story, Snopes is saying they did not sue The View. I don't, like I said, and I'm only reason why I'm looking at this is because it's Snopes, but I never listened to them. This is the same outfit that took 7 years to clear up the good people on both sides lie. So, but I heard something about that not too long ago.
Yeah, well, you try to find. Let's just go with what I opened with.
Yeah.
The bottom line is for the media to tell anybody that they didn't know anything that was going on with Biden is absolutely incredibly. It's so much BS. You can't even wrap your mind around it. It's just one thing after another when it comes to what the media says is relevant or factual. They had to know about it based on how they handle questions or didn't handle questions concerning Biden. The fact that they never talked about.
Well, you bring up a good point here. You bring up a good point here, Jim. Listen to this, because remember, Jake Tapper is under the impression, according to this book, which a lot of people are saying is to redeem the news media, right? That's what it's done. This book is nothing more to give them cover to say, hey, look, the White House were the ones that were keeping everybody in the dark. But I put this video together over 2 years ago. And listen to this.
One of the appeals of Joe Biden and the reason he was elected president is because of his age.
You're very clear
that you do not have any concerns about President Biden's age or his fitness to be president.
There's just a cynicism, really, and an ageism, but there's no evidence that he's slowed up.
There's no evidence to suggest that he has, mentally in any way diminished.
The issue that I have with this conversation about Biden's age is that it's always just about his age. It's not really about, oh, he wasn't able to do X. He wasn't able to do Y. He has a great record.
Yeah, if you're concerned about Joe Biden's age, you probably don't know Joe Biden.
Why is age hurting Biden and not Trump?
Some of it is just how the narrative has evolved.
Last night, he was clear about both addressing and rebutting this narrative about his age.
There's a narrative that Joe Biden is an old man.
Privately, some Democrats do worry that this narrative could take hold.
An already existing narrative about Biden's age.
The narratives around Biden's age.
This narrative around his age.
This is a segment about the anatomy of a smear. This is where a smear about Joe Biden's age and losing a step starts from Nikki Haley.
Now, what's crazy about all of that, Jim? A lot of that latter footage, a lot of the latter part of that audio, where the first guy talks, when the first man starts talking about there's a little bit of ageism about it. What was showing on the screen at the time that they're making these comments about they keep going on about his age, this was after it was viewed when Obama had to grab Biden's arm at the fundraiser and lead him off the stage.
Yeah.
So this nonsense that the media or pundits were caught off guard, they were doing that after that video had surfaced. So nobody was caught off guard.
Let me just throw Obama in here for a minute, and then I'll end on another topic if you don't mind.
Sure.
Obama, what power does Obama have in the Democratic Party?
None.
He had 2 historic losses as president in congressional and Senate races. He couldn't do a thing concerning Biden while he propped up Harris, who ended up not wanting to really prop up at all.
Right.
He sat there and did nothing. He wasn't out there in the stump talking common sense to anybody.
No.
I'm so sick of hearing that Obama has got all this power in the Democratic Party. And then finally, here's the last thing I'll throw, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The press, so sure that they were duped concerning Biden. Yet they were out there, they won concerning Trump. And the press was out there putting forward the talking points of the DNC, the Obama administration, the FBI, the CIA, the IRS, and ever against Americans.
Yep.
Against Trump, against fraud, against Russia. Everything was wrong with Trump. They were so sure. They went so far as to pat themselves on the back and let the New York Times win a Pulitzer on a completely
bogus story. Yep. Sure did.
Completely false story. So they got, so what? They got duped again, but couldn't apologize for that. And now they're telling me they're duped once more.
Yeah, exactly.
And they want everybody to believe it.
Not our fault. That was the White House. They lied to us. All of this is nonsense. And again, I've got plenty of audio to prove it. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you. Here's some more. Lies about Biden's acuity.
Does the president have the stamina?
He doesn't. Oh no, this was the one I wanted to play. Hold on. That was the other supercut that I had here. Listen to this. This is how crazy this is. Okay? You might remember that the Her report drove everybody crazy. That was the special counsel that investigated Joe Biden's retention of classified documents all the way back when he was a senator. He had classified documents since the 70s. He had taken them out of SCIFs. He was interviewed by Robert Hur. And a big point of contention was about the death of Beau Biden. Does anybody remember that? I do. Well, here's Gloria Berger of CNN running interference for Joe Biden about that topic in particular. That how dare Robert Hur even bring up the death of Beau Biden in this interview? That was Joe Biden's response. Here's Gloria Berger and the aforementioned Joe Biden on the same subject.
I mean, you interviewed President Biden about the passing.
About Bo, and tonight he spoke about it, but when I was interviewing him, he actually took Bo's rosary out of his pocket and showed it to me. This is not a man who is going to forget the day that his son died.
There's some attention paid to some language in the report about my recollection of events. There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business. Let me tell you something. Some of you have commented, I wear since the day he died, every single day, the rosary he got from Our Lady of...
Our Lady of what, Biden? Yeah, Joe Biden defending that he remembered the death of his son, pointed out the rosary that he's worn ever since Bo was buried at Our Lady of... He never finished the sentence. Never. He didn't remember. Oddly enough, we know for a fact that Joe Biden did remember the death of his son. It's one of the few things he got to the T. His son did indeed die on May 30th. But it was Biden who brought it up, which we all found out. Saying he was suggesting that Robert Hur brought it up. He didn't even remember the exchange and that he brought it up. He never addressed it. No one ever made him address it. No one ever told him, made him answer to it. That's how bogus all of this was. Here are the comments. Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying, and so it was. And by the way, there were still a lot of people at this time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. I'm not, and not Amin to say he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I may run for office again, but if I ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening, though, that month, did Bo die? Oh, God, May 30th. That's Joe Biden's own words. Those are his own words. I read that verbatim. Nobody knows what he was talking about. It was the only thing he got right in that paragraph was May 30th. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views, your phone calls. 860-522-WTIC on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
At Ayala Home Services, we handle hundreds of water heater issues a year. We know how much of an inconvenience no hot water is, and with our fully stocked trucks and warehouse, you can get your hot water back as soon as the same day. Contact the trusted professionals at Ayala Home Services when you call, click, or text today and say, hello, ALO. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P102776688, E11401465, E11856443, S33086999, HIC 628926, SM30044646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Being injured in an accident can leave you feeling vulnerable and lost. You need a fast and fair resolution and a law firm that can protect you. At Brown, Payne, Dearest & Scott, our team of personal injury lawyers have over 100 years of combined experience and will treat you with respect and dignity. If you've been injured, BPS lawyers are here to help. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Bruce Newman is responsible for the content of this ad.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
They will resume like normal activity for for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 860-440-PAIN. That's 860-440-PAIN. 860-440-PAIN.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's Reese on the Radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We'll get to your phone calls in the next hour, so stand by for that at 860-522-WTIC. Also today, one of the craziest things happened after the show. And apparently there is a new report that I guess people are excited about. And one of our listeners made a big deal out of it at the end of the show because they were so elated that, I guess according to Ancestry, the new Pope, Pope Leo XIV, apparently he is black, Haitian, whatever. But he is black, and there are people who are incredibly excited about this. And I'm not going to lie. I find it humorous. I find it quite laughable. Because the degree of hypocrisy and the level of stupidity in this story cannot go unnoticed and unchecked. And I found the perfect foil to expose just how silly this idea is. The Pope's genetics have been diluted so much. He's not black. Let me say that one more time. His blood has been so diluted, he cannot be referred to as black. As much as there are race baiters who wish to pat themselves on the back, as if to suggest they are closer to divinity because the Pope may have a gene, a genome of black DNA in him. It shows exactly how ridiculous, silly, dare I say, petty certain race baiters are. Jumping for joy about this, as if to suggest that you are now like the Pope, that in some way you have reached the priesthood. It is insanity, like I've never experienced ever before. If you've never heard the term mutually substitutable, that's what all of this is about, is suggesting that because the Pope is black, we all are Pope. And I hope that people ride with this nonsense. I hope they put it on their Facebook and social media pages. I hope they celebrate it. Because if it brings them closer to the church, God bless them. I am proud of them if they decide they wish to join the church. Perhaps they will join the priesthood. Let's get a check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christophers in the BPS Traffic Center. Hello, Mark.
Well, good afternoon, Reese. And if you're heading on the southbound side of 91, look for some slow traffic now. As you move East Windsor into Windsor Locks, we have the road work. 91 southbound on the Dexter-Coffin Bridge. The two left lanes are out there, so you want to stay to the right with that. If you are traveling into Hartford, southbound 91, look for delays 35 down to 32A and B. If you're traveling on the northbound side of 91, that moves well Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84, a little tight, Bulkley Bridge out to 47 Sigourney, 84 eastbound slows, 44 Prospect Oakwood down into the tunnel. 291 eastbound's a little tight coming off of I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. No problems, 2 eastbound into Glastonbury. 9 southbound Berlin, we have an accident, and that's in the right lane just after exit 31. So look for slow traffic pushing back toward exit 35 in New Britain behind that. Westbound 84 to Waterbury slowing 22 to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound is a little bit tight by exit 18. And a good ride 91 south and the Parkway south in toward New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Tuesday afternoon, lots of clouds around, but pleasant with the high up to 78. Cloudy skies tonight, remaining mild, the low down to 56. On Wednesday, lots of clouds around, a couple of showers, breezy, not as warm, but still pleasant temps, the high 69. Thursday, cloudy, we'll have a couple of showers around, the high of 74. A shower in spots on Friday morning, otherwise cloudy and warmer, the high of 81. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Get a head start to your day with WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen to us live on the Odyssey app before you even hit the road. Get the breakdown on the biggest news stories that Connecticut is talking about. To get started, download the Odyssey app and search for WTIC News Talk 1080. WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The Office of Inspector General is investigating an in-custody death in Waterbury. The office says 29-year-old Alyssa Asanya died on Saturday. At the time, Insania was in custody after her arrest the day before near an abandoned house on Willow Street in the city. Police say she had suspected narcotics that later tested positive for heroin fentanyl. Investigators say Insania was seen awake a little after 9 a.m. Saturday and appeared to be asleep around noon. Another check around 2:30 found her unresponsive, and she was pronounced dead about a half an hour later. Cause of death is undetermined, pending further testing by the medical examiner. Also, the investigation continues into an earlier death in Groton, but the man accused in the killing of a woman in the city earlier this year has now died. Donald Cofell was 68. He died in prison. He was arrested last month for killing his roommate, 58-year-old Suzanne Wormser. Her dismembered body was found in the Colonel Ledyard Cemetery back on March 19th. Police say Cofell admitted to beating and dismembering the victim. He was being held at the Corrigan-Radgowski Correctional Center. The 68-year-old had been treated for cancer. President Trump beginning his Mideast trip in Saudi Arabia today. The president said he's willing to end past conflicts and forge new partnerships, including Saudi Arabia recognizing Israel.
You'll do it in your own time, and that's what I want, and that's what you want, and that's the way it's going to be.
He also said he would look to normalize relations and lift sanctions against Syria's new government following the ouster of Bashar al-Assad last year. Bill before the state Senate would require the Office of Early Childhood to regulate town summer camps the same way it regulates private summer camps. That includes requiring background checks for workers. Amy Lestinsky of Bethany says her daughter and others were sexually abused by a counselor at a summer camp.
If our town's Parks and Rec program had been licensed and proper rules and guidelines had been in place and were followed, it is likely he would have been immediately removed from the program.
Now, Republican State Senator Heather Summers argues the Democratic bill and to add regulations would not have stopped the Bethany incidents.
The tragedy that we heard about in Bethany would not have changed with the requirements that the Democrats are putting in SB 6. We still would have had that tragedy.
Summers says additional regulations would cost municipal camps so much they would become unaffordable for many families. House Republicans unveiling a bill calling for nearly $5 trillion in cuts. They would come from reductions such as from such programs as Medicaid and food stamps. Here's correspondent Nicole Killian.
They continue to argue that, for the most part, this will strengthen Medicaid, again, by kind of eliminating these issues of waste, fraud, and abuse. So some of the changes they have made, for instance, rather than taking more deeper cuts, instead they're looking at other reforms, for instance, like implementing work requirements.
Consumer Price Index report showing the annual inflation rate was slightly down from March at 2.3% in April. However, don't expect the Fed to lower interest rates anytime soon.
Any other time, this would say we would get an interest rate cut soon because the labor market is still remaining strong, but inflation's coming down. But the Federal Reserve has said we just don't know what's going to happen with these tariffs, and they don't want to make a preemptive move because of what could be coming.
That's CBS's Kelly O'Grady. Wall Street, before the close, the Dow down 269 points, the NASDAQ up 301, S&P up 42. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. 1 minute. Draining the bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio. News Talk 1080 WTIC. I'm still working on getting somebody in legislature to come on the show to talk about Connecticut House Bill 7162. And I haven't gotten any takers yet, but I'm just out here to let you know, any one of you sponsors of this bill, if you'd like to come on and explain it, we'd appreciate it. And for those of you who are not familiar, is that this is the summary of the bill to reform motor vehicle towing statutes. And some of the sponsors on here are Representative Joshua Elliott, Representative Gary Turco, Senator Martin Looney, Representative Caitlin Shake, Representative Kadeem Roberts, Representative Travis Sims, Rep. Nick Guthier, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly, Representative Nick Menapace, Representative Lori Sweet, Senator Martha Marks, and Rep. William Heffernan. Is that right? Heffernan? Yes, Heffernan. So if someone would like to explain that to the rest of us, why we are voting for this, who is this helping, what constituency is this, how this will affect commercial property owners, private property owners, and just why. I just think it should be defended. There hasn't been a vote on it. A vote can come at any time. And I think people should should come out and talk to folks. Many people are asking about it. I've gotten no takers. And I'm sure the opposition, as far as the Republicans are concerned, would like to come on and talk about it. But I need the people who are sponsoring this bill to explain it. It's one thing to talk to someone who's opposed to it. I could do that all day. I could snap my finger and get somebody on the phone to do that. But apparently getting someone who supports it is a little more difficult. And I find that interesting. I believe that this bill should face the hard questions. So come on, open invitation anytime you want, for as long as you need. Come on for 5 minutes. Stay a while. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. I'm going to go back to my peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
All right, sounds good. Reese, if you're heading into Hartford right now, you're looking at delays southbound 91 from exit 35 down to 32A and B. Looks good 91 northbound, Cromwell up into Windsor. If you're traveling westbound 84, a little slow, Bulkley Bridge. 84 eastbound, some tight traffic. 44 Prospect Oakwood up to 48 Capitol Avenue. 291 eastbound, slowing I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbound's okay into Glastonbury. Quiet Middletown. Got some slow traffic. 9 southbound New Britain from exit 35 down to exit 32 from an earlier accident. Traveling into Waterbury, 84 eastbound, slowing by 18. Westbound 84, some sluggish traffic. 25A up to the Mixmaster. And if you're heading down in toward New Haven, southbound 91 in the Parkway moving well. Northbound Parkway is a little tight as you move from 59 into the West Rock Tunnel. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, the clouds are rolling in. The showers are trying to follow, but not necessarily reaching the ground just yet. As we head through tonight, it'll be cloudy with the low dropping down to 54. Lots of clouds with a couple of showers as we head through our Wednesday, though. A breezy day, not as warm as it's been, the high 67. Then cloudy and mild with a passing shower or two Wednesday night. Thursday, cloudy, couple of showers. Warmer, though, the high moving up to 74. Friday, variably cloudy, a thunderstorm in parts of the area. Some of those could produce some flooding downpours and localized damaging wind gusts. Otherwise, warm and humid day with the high up to 80. Saturday, a humid day, a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon, the high 81. Sunday looking good, partly sunny, less humid, breezy, the high of 78. Right now, it's 70 in Danbury, much cooler in Bridgeport, down to 60, 64 in New Haven, and 73 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Now at McDonald's, wake up with a warm sausage McMuffin with egg for $3 and add any sized coffee for just $1.29 during breakfast hours only. Price and participation may vary.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to NordicUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
Slow? Clogged? Backed up? Don't worry. ALO Home Services has you covered. For only $93, our technician will clear any drain in your home. And if it can't be cleared, it's free. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P102776688, D10401465, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the Radio, on News Talk 1080, WTIC.
Speaking of Chris Murphy, we'll get to that in a second. Apparently, he's upset about some sort of $400 million jet plane. It's got everybody in a tizzy. We'll talk about it. Let's get to the phones, 860-522-WTIC. Fulton, what's going on, sir?
What's up, buddy? I want to talk about Biden at the top of his game with Joe and Mika saying that day. The guy crapped his pants he crapped his pants multiple times. So I don't know a lot of people that are at the top of their game. I want to say like the top, but they're not crapping their pants. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
What do you make of the people who want to forget it while they continue to write new books about it? They're trying to cover themselves. They're trying to rewrite history so in 20 years they could say, oh, I didn't do it like that. Yeah, I know. And listen, in the digital age, that's the beauty of it. It's like all of this stuff is there. I'm looking at I looked at it. It's so crazy, Fulton. I went to my computer and I have all of my files in one, like all of my video files, I keep them in one place. And of course, I title them based upon the subject. So I'll type in Biden and I'll get a slew of Biden stuff that was newsworthy. When I put in cognitive decline, the treasure trove of stuff that I got. That's what I mean. For anybody to say they were in a meeting with him and they didn't see that, I saw it on TV. What? I put in the word cognitive, and the video hits just came up, and there was something in it that sort of I think I had a Michael Moore moment where I said to myself, I could do a documentary with the amount of clips that I have here. And then the topper is they go back on The View and they make him look even worse. Like, they're like, that she's got to take over the whole interview. Like, we knew what was going on. And then he's like drooling on himself. Like, what? Yeah, this is, again, I look at these people and I go, the amount or the stretch in which they are willing to thin themselves out to protect Joe Biden as if he has something to offer them in the long run. Right? I mean, it would be something. What would have been worse? Say again? Or if Biden, what would have been worse? If Biden won and lived for 4 more years, or if he won and she took over, or she won? Like, what do you think would have been worse there for America? I think Biden dying in office and the painting of the picture of the elder statesman and then propping up Kamala Harris as the second coming of Barack Obama would have been far worse because remember what would have happened. And I want to look at it in this way, Fulton. I think it's a good way to look at it. Remember the 4 years of Joe Biden, we had a active media cover-up of everything that was happening to us, from the baby formula shortage to supply chain shortages to inflation through the roof, through gas prices through the roof. We had an active cover-up by the media to make this president look good. Imagine that with a dead president, and then the coronation, if you will, of the first so-called black female president. They would have lied through their teeth if she had made it far worse. Do you think she would have had more control than Joe, though? You think? Because Joe, I don't think had much control. No. If you think Joe Biden was nothing more than a figurehead, Kamala Harris would have been puppet extraordinaire. My nickname for Kamala Harris would be Lamb Chop by the end of it, okay? Because somebody had their hand up her sock, is the way I would look at it. That's how bad it would be. 100% you would think, right? Whoever had the money at that point, it's California politics. Yeah, indeed. Exactly. Thank you, sir. Let's go to my good friend Ralph in South Carolina. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon, Reese. A couple things.
Yeah.
Happen to be watching a congresswoman from Texas.
Yeah.
I think you're familiar with her. And talking about a token white boy. They're going to put up a token white boy.
Yes, I guess what do you call them? The bunglers or the financiers of the Democrat Party are saying that they are going to go with the safest white boy.
Now, isn't that a racist statement?
Yes, absolutely, and it comes from the racist party, sir. The racist party doing what racists do.
Right, racist. I happen to be watching. Did a replay at the Democratic Convention, and telling people who are running for office, you can only vote for one woman.
Mm-hmm.
You can only vote for one man. You can't vote for two women. You can't vote for two men. Nobody ever mentioned competency.
Oh, no. No.
Ever.
No, they're the party. Listen, they're the party of gender and race because they've always been the party of gender and race. That's just who they are. People, I don't get it. People keep talking to me like I don't recognize this party. I do. You know, I find it incredibly odd that people, they seem to remember slavery in this country. They seem to remember the racism in this country, but can't seem to identify it in the party that started it all. It's amazing to me.
The truth really hurts. The truth really hurts, Reese. But can I mention one more thing? And
Real
I
quick.
mentioned this before to you. And to me, it's extremely important. Due process for you and me and every single American citizen. When someone crosses our border and is not vetted, and we have no idea what their background is and what their intentions are, how is that due process?
No.
Explain it to me.
They should be called an enemy combatant. That's what I would call them. I believe, and you know what? I call it stolen citizenship. We should start using that term. Stolen citizenship. Because they didn't earn it. It's like stealing valor. You know? Dick Blumenthal knows something about that. But that's what it should be called. That's what it should be called. Stolen citizenship.
Yeah, but you don't understand. Dick Blumenthal got as far as the West Coast and got lost in San Francisco. And then he saw a sign that says Vietnam and said, hey, I was in Vietnam.
I know, poor guy. I'll never forget that when that whole campaign was going, I was like, yeah, there's no way this guy can win. And then I remembered, oh, it's Connecticut. Yeah, he's a shoe.
It's Connecticut, exactly. And that's the really sad part in my mind, Reese. People in Connecticut, and I'll tell them right to their faces, you're not Americans, you're Democrats. You don't stand up for your country, you stand up for your party, which is the same thing the Nazis did in the 1930s with Hitler.
Wow, buddy. Thank you, man.
Remember that.
You got it. Fred is in Middletown. How we doing, sir? Fred, you there? Okay, he must be in the middle of something else. That's okay. Anyway, I wanted to get into this thing with the Qatari airplane. And apparently everybody in New England has got like a problem with it. Now, I'm going to say this, okay? I don't have a huge problem with Donald Trump, the White House, the Defense Department, accepting a $400 million plane from Qatar. Now, I know people are going to be sitting up there, Reese, what's wrong with you? They sponsor terrorism. Okay, all right, I get it. I know. You probably think I'm going up against my principles here. Sure you are. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I will take those slings and arrows, and if you've got a beef with me, come with it. But I'm going to go one step further here. Who believes that Donald Trump is going to do business with Qatar at the current state that Qatar is in? Who believes that? Who believes that Donald Trump is going to just take a plane and leave it at that and allow the Qatar to exist as is? Has anybody been paying attention to the news media lately? Anyone? Now, I don't have to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you because obviously some of you forgot. I'm never wrong about these things. Never. Not once. This airplane thing is a slap in the face to Boeing. That's what all of this is about. When everyone is focusing on this, it's always about the thing that they're not paying attention to. What led to all of this? Why is there even a conversation? It's because Boeing dropped the ball. How does Boeing, the company that builds planes, behind schedule on the new Air Force One? How? How did that happen? How is it possible that that took place? What could be the reason? Has anyone asked? Has there been one report on it? No. The only thing is is focusing on Qatar and the $400 million jet. No conversation about Boeing. None. Perhaps that's going to happen soon. And that's where the focus will be. Because if I'm Donald Trump, I'm just going to say, hey, I don't want to take the plane, but it's a gift. It's a very generous gift. We wouldn't even be here maybe if Boeing got their stuff together, I wonder why they didn't. And then one of you gumshoes decides to go figure it out. Hey, Boeing, your thing is building planes. What gives? I'm just saying. Let's see if Denise in Prospect is going to challenge me on this one. Do you have a different take on this, Denise?
Oh, my God. I can't believe that Blumenthal, he lives up to his name, Dick.
Are we still talking about his stolen valor?
I'm sorry. I just, and I can't deal with that whole bunch of Democrats in Connecticut. And I think that the worst one is our governor, and I call him the opportunistic, lipless wonder. Yeah.
Do you think he's going to run again for governor, or do you think he's just going to pack it in?
I don't think he's ever had a job, has he?
Yeah, but he's wealthy enough. His wife's wealthy enough. I think he can, run the state and then leave. And then, if Gavin Newsom, who looks like he might be the guy, he can always run with Gavin Newsom as his vice presidential candidate. I'm still sticking to that. I've been saying it. I'm sorry. I've been saying it for a couple of years now. Since I joined WTIC, I've been saying that Gavin Newsom and Lamont are going to run on a ticket in 2028. I really do believe it. It sounds crazy, but I believe it.
Well, I don't think I have the stomach for that. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're not alone there. I think there's a whole trough for people who are not going to be able to stomach that idea, so you'll be fine.
Oh, well, I love to listen to you. All these things, and the fact that you're, Chris Murphy's,
Oh, the president of his fan club? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think, that just, sends me right off the deep end anyway.
Oh, it's all done tongue-in-cheek, Denise, but I appreciate you. You have a wonderful rest of your day, okay?
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Donald says in the chat room, can you imagine Biden accepting that plane as a gift? The Republicans would call for an inquiry. Oh, no. I'm not saying, don't misunderstand me, Donald. Let me make this 100% clear. Listen to what I said from beginning to end. I said I don't have a problem with Qatar offering the plane to Donald Trump. But while everyone is focusing on the gift, by the way, in this article, in every article that's written, here's the thing, right? They think it's a conflict of interest, right? If they would give a plane to Donald Trump has to give them something, right? It's a constitutional crisis. They're going to ask for something in return. Well, what are they going to ask in return? Does anybody know? Does anybody have an idea? No one's even going that far. Everyone has a problem with the gift, but they won't tell you what the crisis is. What is Qatar asking for in return? Have they made some sort of gesture towards the president? Hey, we have a plane for you. What do you say you give us, I don't know. I don't hear anything. All I hear is that people have a problem with him even accepting the gift. Nothing's written in stone yet. But not once has anyone asked why Boeing is late on delivering a plane when that's what Boeing does. That's their job, okay? That's like FedEx not delivering your package. Hey, what are you guys doing if you're not delivering packages? Making ice cream? So no one's bothered to ask. And again, I told you I'm never wrong on this. Keep acting like I am. Keep pretending I wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But you haven't asked anybody why no one is asking what Boeing's doing. Why didn't Boeing have the plane done? Why are they behind schedule? What are they lollygagging for? It's a hell of a contract. But I'll tell you what the deal is. It's real simple. What did Donald Trump do in 2017 when he took office, when it came to the new plane? What did he do? Anybody remember? I do. But remember, things happen so fast, people have a tendency to forget these things in the news cycle. Donald Trump renegotiated the price to the plane. Perhaps that was part of the reason why there's a delay? Yeah. That's exactly why. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Jason Caterina's weather and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon. This traffic report being brought to you by Columbia Implant Center in Manchester. And if you are heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91 delays approaching 35 down to 32 A and B. South of downtown's a good ride. Northbound 91, no major issues. Cromwell up into Windsor. 91 southbound got some slow traffic as you move from East Windsor into Windsor Locks between 44 and 42. Two left lanes on the Dexter-Coffin Bridge shut down with the road work. If you're traveling westbound 84, you've got delays just after 56 Governor Street out to 46 Sisson Avenue. 84 eastbound, you're tied up 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. If you are moving toward Middletown, both sides of 9 heavy at the Aragoni. 84 westbound in Cheshire slowing 26 up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. 84 eastbound in Cheshire a little tight 26 down to the 691 interchange. Eastbound 84 in Newtown sluggish stop and go from 9 up to 11. 91 in the Parkway good ride heading down in toward New Haven. Traffic got you down. Turn that frown upside down. Columbia Implant Center in Manchester. They offer fast, efficient dental implant procedures completed in a single visit. Open 7 days a week for your convenience. Don't wait. Visit ColumbiaImplantCenter.com. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Tuesday afternoon, lots of clouds around, but a warm day, the high of 78. Cloudy skies continue tonight. It'll be mild, the low down to 56. Lots of clouds on Wednesday. Couple of showers around, so you may want to take your umbrellas just in case. Breezy, not as warm, but still pleasant temps, the high of 69. Then Thursday, a cloudy day with a couple of showers around. Milder, though, the high up to 74. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
4:30, 73 degrees in Hartford. I'm John Silva. A Waterbury police officer is on administrative leave this afternoon following an apparent incident during a traffic stop earlier this month. The department says around 9 p.m. May 2nd, the officer in question attempted to stop a motor vehicle that had made an illegal turn on West Main and Willow Streets. The suspect took off. A statement from Waterbury PD only says the officer acted in an unprofessional manner during interviews with those conducted or connected to the fleeing vehicle, adding that the behavior runs counter to Waterbury police standards. Arrests have been made in an incident in which a Wilkett gun store was rammed with a car and weapons stolen last month. Police say 3 teenagers and 4 adults are charged. The group is charged with breaking into the Sportsman's Outpost using a Hyundai to bust into the store on Wilkett Road back on April 18th. Los Angeles judge listening to arguments over whether Eric and Lyle Menendez should receive reduced sentences. The brothers have spent more than 3 decades in prison for killing their parents at their Beverly Hills home in 1989. President Trump says he'll move to normalize relations with Syria and lift sanctions on its new government to give the country a chance at peace. That development coming shortly before Trump was set to meet on Wednesday in Saudi Arabia with the new Syrian president. Kim Kardashian says she feared she would be raped and killed during a 2016 armed robbery in Paris. She testified at trial today, confronting for the first time the men accused of tying her up at gunpoint and stealing more than $6 million in jewels. Wall Street, kind of a mixed bag today. The Dow finished down 269 points, but the Nasdaq picked up 301, and the S&P was up 42. Red Sox baseball tonight on TIC. Sox continue their series in Detroit against the Tigers. Pregame following the 6 o'clock news here. Yanks are in the Pacific Northwest taking on the Mariners again tonight. Pittsburgh plays the Mets at Citi Field to continue that series. Eastern League Yard Goats are in Binghamton, and the first pitch time scheduled for 7:10. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hey, it's Tom Shattuck. As you know, my friend Phil has been on Awaken 180 weight loss, and now he has just finished week 13 of losing weight each and every week.
I'm down 65.4 pounds. I'm feeling a lot more confident in myself. You know, like I used to be, especially summertime, be embarrassed to wear certain clothing because you didn't want to show your weight. I have my major high school reunion in September, and I'm kind of looking forward to, showing off a little bit. That'll be kind of cool. I can actually wear clothes that I've had tucked away for years. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm getting a little cocky.
It's okay to get a little cocky when you've lost a lot of weight with Awaken 180 weight loss because you did it the right way. Eating healthy food, but eating smarter. Working with a coach who customizes the approach to you. Unlike all these fad treatments for weight loss that you hear so much about in the news, with Awaken 180 weight loss, all you put into your body is delicious, healthy food. Make your consultation today, 844-346-1800. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Did you hear? A recent $1 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, stupidest thing I read today coming up in a little bit. And, of course, we've got some other show notes that we need to get into as well. And, of course, the stupidest thing I read today is about the Pope. Yeah, go figure. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about Barack Obama coming to Connecticut for a made-up holiday that is now a national holiday. I know they're probably not going to get rid of it. Dare you be called racist. But apparently it is Wakanda Independence Day coming up next month. You guys don't know that? I don't understand why all of these holidays for black folks are all made up. Kwanzaa, Juneteenth, Wakanda Day. I don't know. It's like we can actually have a real holiday. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't have to be this made up stuff. It doesn't have to, just give me pulling stuff out of the ether and calling it a black holiday. It's absolutely astonishing that people would do this. It's scary. Even just making stuff up. We've got plenty of stuff that we can celebrate. Again, I think it does a disservice. It's a disservice. But I don't even know why did Barack Obama pick Connecticut? That I would love to understand. And I guess if you're going to pay the guy to give a speech, I mean, why not Connecticut? I guess it does make sense. What's the place he's going to be? Somebody mentioned it. In fact, the top of the hour news, I think John Vila actually mentioned it as well, and it's here. Yes, at the Bushnell. That's correct. That's what he's going. Yeah, he's going to be there, and that's supposed to be on. When I heard Vila say the 19th, June 19th, I went, "Ain't that Juneteenth?" Because I keep forgetting. I never remember these holidays. Kwanzaa, I'm still trying to figure out the 6 days of Kwanzaa. I think one of them is Unfufu or something like
Umoja,
that.
Ujima, Ujama, Ania, Kumba, Imani, Kujigagulia.
Whatever he said. I just can't. It's too funny to me because the background on these stories are always bad. They always turn out to be bad and somewhat embarrassing. That's why I'm just not doing it. I'm just going to make up Wakanda Independence Day. I'm going to do it. Oh, let me tell you this real quick before we go to break. Roland, this happened over the weekend. This really happened. I have to tell you real quick. So my wife wanted to go to Crocs, right? And I have a pair of Crocs. But she was like, you want a new pair of Crocs? I'm like, nope, I have one. I got to that's enough. But she wants to go in there because she wants to see which ones are cute. And she walks in there, and all of a sudden, she sees a pair of Crocs that are black, and they have gold trim around them. She goes, ooh, look at those over there. And I turn to my left, and I look at them, and I go, ooh, those must be the Black Panther Crocs. Well, this older black man was right next to me. His head jumped up and said, where they got those? And I said, no, sir, I was just kidding. He thought that there were some Wakanda Crocs. And he was so, where they got them? Oh, man, I was going to buy out the store, he said. Let's get a check of the weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Well, we're seeing delays 91 southbound between 44 and...
Yeah, that's because he know he could flip them things. He go back to the hood and flip them.
Worked on right now with the ongoing road work there. If you're traveling into Windsor, delays again from 36.
Roland, he was
32
sitting.
A and B in Hartford.
When I said it in passing, he jumped up and was like, where they got them?
Bridge up to 40.
he about to buy them all.
44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. 291 eastbound slowing I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury into East Hartford. Both sides of 9 heavy approaching the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound Waterbury slows by 18. And again, some sluggish traffic 26 to the 691 interchange. Westbound 84 slowing in Waterbury from 22 up to the Mixmaster. 91 in the Parkway. Good ride heading down in toward New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Remaining cloudy tonight, mild, the low down to 54. Lots of clouds on Wednesday, couple of showers, breezy, not as warm, but still quite mild, the high 67. A passing shower or two Wednesday night, and Thursday, cloudy, couple of more showers, but warmer, the high up to 74. Then heading into the day Friday, variably cloudy, a thunderstorm in parts of the area. Some of those, could be packing a bit of a wallop and produce some flooding downpours as well as some localized damaging wind gusts. The high of 80 Friday. Saturday, humid, partly sunny, warm, a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon, the high 81. Sunday looking like the nicer of the 2 weekend days, partly sunny, less humid and breezy, the high 78. Right now, it is 71 in Mansfield. It's 62 with the wind coming off the water in New London and 73 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
At Progressive, we're making things easier. We'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
At Joe the Plumber, we've heard all the jokes about plumbers' pants and plumbers' butts. And just for the record, none of our very skilled technicians wear their pants that low. Except maybe Bob. Sorry, dude. Visit us at calljoetheplumber.com.
How did you get your tripping breakers fixed so fast?
Ayala Home Services, same-day electrical. I gave them a call, and they had a technician on their way. They even sent the technician's real-time location, so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day electrical, call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO, call for details. Licensed for safety. P102776688, D1040145, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM 3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-384-7878.
Here we go.
800-384-7878. 800-384-7878.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
By the way, I had the biggest chuckle of my life when I found out who the person is that says they're running a strange program here, y'all. That is none other than Wesley Snipes.
Yes, sir.
From New Jack City. I heard it. We were watching it. My wife had never seen it before. And I heard that, and I went, oh. And it was so nice to know where it came from. But I
thought you knew.
Never knew that. I never really followed the dialogue of New Jack City. I thought it's one of the worst movies ever.
Yeah, it's
a cultural thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it's in a cultural lexicon.
The black classic.
Yeah, exactly. But I wasn't really a fan of it. I thought Chris Rock, there are great quotables from the movie. But I didn't notice that. So when I heard it, I went, oh, look, that was Wesley Snipes, because it doesn't really sound like him. I want to get into it. Let me do this real quick.
That's just how good I am, man.
Yeah, you are really, really good. Let's do this real quick.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
The stupidest thing I read today is that Sunny Houston is happy about something. Well, that's stupid. But of course she's happy about something. And this is the interesting part. As you might recall earlier in the show, I told you at the end of the show yesterday, we got a listener, Keone, who was so excited that the Pope is black. He wrote in the chat room, wow, the Pope is black. To which I had a huge laugh. You can go to reaseonradio.com. You can listen at the end of the show, where I completely lose my crap all over him about the silliness of the Pope being black. It's a dumb notion. But let me tell you how stupid all of this is. You see, because when there is a new pope, everyone is always concerned about one thing on the left. When it comes to Catholicism or Christianity, they're concerned about their most important constituency, and that is the LGBTQ community. You know it, I know it, I don't have to tell you. And Sunny Houston, a Christian who was somewhat celebratory in getting a new pope, had some concerns. Listen closely.
During these very trying times in our country, we certainly need spiritual leadership. Because of some of the things that we're experiencing. I'm a little concerned about this choice for the LGBTQ plus community. In 2012, he gave an address to bishops, and he lamented the popular culture fostered and sympathy for beliefs and practices that are at odds with the gospel, and that's a quote. And then he cited the homosexual lifestyle and alternative families comprised of same-sex partners and their adopted children.
So Sunny was so concerned about her LGBTQ community. But they soon took a back burner because all it took was the Pope is black for Sunny Houston to think it was the best choice ever. Hey, screw you, LGBTQ folks. Hey, fight for yourselves.
As it turns out, our new American Pope has Haitian and black roots. So we actually have a black Pope. Apparently, it's like chef's kiss for me. So apparently, both of his maternal grandparents are described as black, Haitian, or mulatto in several census documents. And on their marriage license, the grandfather's birth place is Haiti, listed as Haiti. Her birthplace is listed as born in New Orleans. They were identified as people of color. But in 1920, when they migrated to Chicago, the census reflected their race as white.
So I'm loving everything about this culture.
Oh, they are excited, baby. Yes. All concerned about the LGBTQ community. Oh, he's black? Oh, screw them people. I don't care about them. LGBTQ, you're on your own. We got the first black pope. Aren't you excited? Yes, absolutely. Sonny, what about the LGBTQ community? I'm who are you? What's your name? Sorry. What's that about the LGBT? He's black. He's black. I'm sorry. Yes, in the racial and sexual identity Olympics, that supersedes everything. Yes, he's a pope of color. Oh, no, yeah, he could be a complete bigot against the gay community. Absolutely. He's black. Most important thing. It shows you how pathetic these people are. That's why I can't do anything but laugh at them. They're all silly. They're silly and a joke. George is in St. Louis. What's going on, Georgie?
Hi, Reese. Here's the reason the Saudis are so friendly to Trump, and the reason for the Saudis being so friendly, they don't want Iran to have the bomb.
Damn right.
We don't want Iran to have the bomb.
Damn sure don't.
Trump. Okay, there's a base in Garcia, south. Diego Garcia. They have B-52s all lined up, ready to take off with what they call bunker busters.
Yeah.
And it'll destroy all of the underground facilities that where Iran's been building their nukes,
sure.
Refining uranium. And I don't look for the negotiations to go through. Iran doesn't negotiate, and they if they reach an agreement, they break it. They're like the Russians.
Well, that much I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you there, because I mean, if you really think about it, right? The Biden administration just sent over bundles of money. God forbid they sent the money over there on the anniversary of September 11th, just to show you how out of touch that administration was.
Anyway, I look for in the next 30 days the B-52s that Diego Garcia to take out those
that's not going
to weapons.
That's not going to happen, George.
I think they will be gone in the next 30 days.
Who? Iran?
The B-52s will drop bunker busters and collapse all of the caves where they're refining uranium.
And what's your timeline on that, George?
I would say 30 days.
Okay, all right.
Going to happen.
I'll hold you to it. I'll hold you to it. Thank you, buddy. Let's try Fred again in Middletown. How you doing, Fred?
Hey, sorry about that previous
That's okay.
gap.
That's okay.
wasn't expecting to get picked up. So this is some hilarious material here. I think I can add to it.
Okay.
So now that we got a black pope, it's safe to go back in the holy water. And on Shattuck's show a few days ago, the great Patty, Patty.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, she pointed out that what with the priest sex scandals, contributions from American Catholics were way down, hurting the church. And so an American pope, and then now that we find out this is probably a ploy I call conspiracy. I call conspiracy here. And the thing about stolen citizenship, did you come up with that? Or?
Yeah. That's the way I got two of them. I've got stolen citizen, and my other one, which I took from the Democrats, I call them undocumented Democrats.
That's brilliant, dude. You're still hitting your stride.
I tried.
And and about Trump taking the plane,
yes.
I understand it's deathly rude to refuse a gift in Qatar.
That's what I said. I was thinking that yesterday.
Oh, you said that too.
No, yesterday I was thinking that when I was talking to my wife. I said, isn't it supposed to be in Arab cultures, it's rude to not accept a gift from them?
I don't even know that. I actually know that's true in Puerto Rican culture, Yeah. So this guy was telling me you express appreciation for a vase, you're walking out of there with it.
I didn't even realize this, and I want to thank, I think it's Edward in the chat room for actually bringing this up. Edward in the chat room mentioned that the damn plane that Qatar is giving us, it's a 747-800 series by none other than whom? Boeing. It's a Boeing plane.
Yeah. And just a tiny little thing on your show thing. It kind of just tweaks my ear. But now you say the self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
And when you say the unelected voice of Hartford, and just to me, not to tell you, but I kind of want to hear the self-proclaimed voice of Hartford.
Ooh.
That would yeah.
I like that too. I like that.
All
I
right.
like that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Self-proclaimed voice of Hartford. I like that. I agree with George, but I think it'll be more than about 60 days, and they will take out their nuclear facilities. I don't think Donald Trump wants to. That's an escalation. I don't think he's about that. Speaking of what Fred was talking about with the Pope, Rama in the chat room said, "Poping ain't easy." I totally love that. Poping.
Breaking news: Jason Tatum ruptured Achilles.
Oh, then the series is over.
Yeah.
Then it's over. Jason Tatum is out, then that's fine. Hey, that's okay. You know what? Thank you for mentioning it. Let me say this. I want to get this off my chest. First of all, the Caps, you suck. The Caps suck. The Caps suck.
Best record in the league, though.
They do have the best record in the league. They suck though. And the Celtics, I don't know what's going on. I feel, and I've been watching this series, I see and feel fatigue in this team. I don't think, and I never thought it last season. I did not look at them as this team that had all the tangibles to win any series for that matter, much less a championship. But they did. But it was one of those things where I'm not calling it a fluke. I'm just saying the ball fell their way. If you look at their game this time around, what was it? How many threes did they miss in one game? It was like 78?
45.
45. Okay. Yeah. The shooting is off. Porzingis is 90 feet tall. He only needs a 2-inch vertical to slam dunk. He couldn't do a layup yesterday. He was awful. Porzingis, I was screaming at him. I was calling him all types of things. I was sending him back to Serbia or whatever Western Bloc country he's from. I was cursing him out yesterday. I'm like, Porzingis, what is wrong with you? It was just awful. Nothing. And who's the grunt that plays for the Knicks with the Predator hairstyle? What's his name?
That plays for the Knicks?
Yeah, plays for the Knicks. The light-skinned brother. He's the short one, the grunt. He scored 45.
Oh, Brunson?
Brunson.
Yeah, Brunson.
That's his name.
Yeah.
Do you ever say, first of all, basketball players are not supposed to look like him. He looks like a small wrestler from high school. That's the body he has. He doesn't have the body of a basketball player. He so annoyed me. But you know what? He's supposed to. He was supposed to be the dagger in Boston. And I think this is going to be the hiatus of the series because I think the Knicks are out. I don't think the Knicks have got the opportunity to go in. They are the Knickerbockers, by the way. Oh, and if anybody tells you otherwise, what's the woman's name who was calling the game last night? Her name is Lisa something. Lisa Salters?
Salters?
Yeah, Lisa Salters. She called them the N-word Bockers last night. She did. I heard it. I had to replay it. I had to on my DVR. I rewinded it 3 times, and I said, "Yep, that's exactly what she called them. She called them the N-word Bockers last night." And I went, "Did she do that?" And I rewound it 3 times, and that's exactly what she called them. First of all, they're garbage. They always have been trash. And if they think they're going to redeem themselves from the '94 finals,
they're going to the finals,
no,
though.
they're not. No,
they're going to the. Who's going to beat them? The Pacers? It's not happening.
No, that's not happening.
They're going to the finals. It's going to be. They traded away Randall and DiVincenzo to the Timberwolves, and they're going to end up playing them and playing against their tradeaways in the finals.
So you think the Knicks are
Knicks Timberwolves?
You think it's Knicks Timberwolves, and you think the Timberwolves are going to take them? I mean, is going to take a loss?
No, I just said the Knicks are going to make it to the finals. I didn't say they were going to win.
No, they're definitely not going to win. They're the Knicks.
They're going to make it, though.
They're not going to. Yeah, I'm done with them. When's the next game? Tomorrow, right? Is it today?
Tomorrow.
Oh, it is tomorrow. Okay, so there's another game tomorrow. I think the Knicks win on the road, and if Tatum is out, forget about it. It's over.
Yeah, they're going to get blew out.
Yeah, it's just going to be over, and, Knicks will go home. New York will pretend that they're somebody, and then they'll play the next round. And I just want them out. I want both of them out. I want both of them out. I can't stand either one of them. And once that's done, I don't have to watch any more games. And if the Caps are out, I won't watch any more hockey because I don't like any other hockey teams. I can't stand the Hurricanes. I definitely don't like Las Vegas. I don't even know what that series is like yet. I haven't checked the Vegas stats yet. Maybe I'll
Was it their third year, fourth year?
Yeah, if that. Because there was it. No, it's longer than that because 2018 was their inaugural season.
Okay.
When
okay.
the Caps,
so
when the Caps beat them, and that was. I'm not going to lie. Panthers are a great franchise. I mean, not Panthers. Sorry, Vegas Knights. They're great.
They won. Didn't they win?
Yeah. Yeah, they did win
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yep. So I mean, Vegas is a great franchise. I think they've got it in them to go all the way, but I'm not going to root for them.
That's where LeBron is opening up a team.
Is he? Oh,
he's
speaking
trying
of,
to. He's trying to.
We got to
open up
take a
team in
break.
Vegas.
But did you hear that the Connecticut Sun may be leaving?
I did not.
Yeah, I got that story too. I'm going to do that in the 5 o'clock hour. We have to talk about that a little bit. And to be honest with you, I think it's a great thing. And people say
I love going to games.
Yeah, you might love going to games, but I think it might be time for them to go. I'll explain that in the next hour. So stick around for that. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Would it be bad if they left, Mark?
The Sun?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That would be unfortunate. There's a lot of people that love them here. But basically, the Mohegan Sun's going to have to put a ton of money into keeping that franchise here. And I'm not sure they want to do it. It's the smallest market in the WNBA. They went up to the TD Garden and sold it out quickly.
Yep.
My thought is they're probably going to go to Boston.
I agree.
And then they had that issue last year. They were trying to have a practice, and they had to stop the practice because they rented the area out for a birthday party. So, yeah. So, they paid, $50 million for it in 2003. They obviously would make a crap load of money if they sold it. So, unfortunately, they probably will be moving out of the area. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, the South...
He just stole your story.
Down to 32 B. Quiet northbound 91, 84 eastbound, slowing 44 Prospect Oakwood to the Bulkley. Westbound 84 is tied up, approaching the Bulkley, out to 45 Flatbush. 291 eastbound, slowing I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. If you're heading into Middletown, 9 northbound delays Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound, slowing from 26 in Cheshire down to the 691 interchange. If you're southbound 95 New Haven, slowing 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
Traffic is brought to you by the Heyman Law Firm.
If you or a loved one has been the victim of medical malpractice, know that you are not alone. Call 1-800-HEYMAN and they will get you the answers and advice you deserve. Attorney John Heyman is your legal authority in medical malpractice. Call 1-800-HEYMAN.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, Hartford temperature 73 degrees. Good afternoon, I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. A Waterbury police officer is on administrative leave following an incident during a traffic stop earlier this month. Now, the department says around 9 p.m. on May 2nd, the officer in question attempted a motor vehicle stop at West Main and Willow Streets for an illegal turn. The suspect took off. The statement from Waterbury Police would only say the officer acted in an unprofessional manner during interviews with those connected to the fleeing vehicle, adding that the behavior runs counter to Waterbury Police standards. The officer's leave is pending a full internal affairs investigation. The Groton man accused of killing and dismembering his roommate has died in prison. More from WTIC's Morgan Cunningham.
We're learning 68-year-old Donald Kofel died Friday at the Corrigan Correctional Center in Uncasville. Officials with the Department of Corrections say that his death is not being considered suspicious and that the medical examiner will determine the official cause of death. It had been known, though, that Kofel was battling cancer. He was charged with murder in the death of 58-year-old Suzanne Wormser. Wormser's remains were found at the Colonel Ledyard Cemetery in Groton on March 19th, helping to fuel rumors of a serial killer lurking in New England. Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
State lawmakers will not issue regulations on homeschooling this year. Some Democrats were pursuing a measure with new guidelines to ensure children removed from public schools are receiving an education at home. The state child advocate's office says some students removed from school are being abused, but the idea of regulations brought hundreds of protesters to the Capitol last week, including homeschooled children. Democratic State Representative Jen Leeper made the announcement this morning that no bill will be passed in the current session.
We were, in an effort to be public and transparent, brought everybody to the table to listen from all of our agencies that interact with students and children and their well-being about where there are gaps in the system. And now we're going to do the public and methodical work to explore all those places where kids are slipping through.
State Senate Republicans called the decision not to go forward with the legislation a major victory for parental rights. State could regulate town summer camps much the way it regulates private summer camps under a bill being considered by lawmakers. The changes are being proposed after a counselor at a town camp in Bethany was accused of sexually abusing campers. Amy Listinsky's daughter was one of the alleged victims.
There should not be two systems of camps where one set of children are protected by licensure and safety standards, yet the children cared for by municipal programs are not.
The Democratic bill would require background checks of workers at municipal summer camps. Opponents say new regulations would be so costly that the town camps would become unaffordable for many. Danielle Cheeseborough is the first select woman in Stonington.
In Stonington, our municipal camp is 50% less than nearly any other camp, and some are even higher than that. This means families will either have to struggle more than they already are to find a way to pay for this, or these kids aren't going to camp.
Arrests have been made in the burglary of a gun store in Wolcott last month. Bristol police, working with Wolcott officers in the case, say 4 adults and 3 juveniles are charged in that April 18th incident. The 7 allegedly rammed a vehicle through the Sportsman's Outpost on Wolcott Road, stealing 9 handguns. The juveniles faced a host of charges, including conspiracy to steal a firearm and commit burglary. The adults are facing charges, including burglary, tampering with evidence, and the theft of firearms. And some huge names in baseball have been reinstated after lifetime bans.
Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson have been reinstated by Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred. Rose's ban comes 8 months after his death, and a day before the Cincinnati Reds will honor baseball's career hits leader with Pete Rose Night. Manfred says bans will now expire after death, which means all members of the 1919 Chicago Black Sox are also reinstated. Jackson was accused of conspiring to throw the World Series in exchange for money. Rose involved in betting while a manager. They're both now eligible for the Sports Hall of Fame. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Wall Street, the Dow down 269 points, NASDAQ up 301, S&P gained 42 today. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Men, is really what you want with your sex life? This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And if erectile dysfunction is making for a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us because you want your intimacy to be fantastic, both for you and for the one you love. At Northeast Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you. Which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. You could even last up to an hour or more and make sex great again. So make an appointment and make a change from good enough to really good. For just $99, you'll get a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you. Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
So, of course, you can imagine the revelations from Jake Tapper's new book, which is called Original Sin, is the name of it? Yeah, written by Jake Tapper of CNN and Alex Thompson. There are all of these revelations that are coming out about it, and I'm reading some of them. None of which, that nothing really bombshell here, and I think primarily because, look, we all knew what was going on. But there is one that is capturing a lot of folks, and it'll be on the news cycle at least for, I'd say, 24 to 48 hours. And it's my favorite so far. So I hope you will indulge me as I read this nonsense. You might think it's repetitive. I'm sorry. It's just, this is funny to me. In fact, I'll read both of them. I'll read number 3 and number 4. Number 4 is a little better than number 3 because it's so narcissistic. Number 3 of the 5 revelations. Obama had to rescue Biden numerous times during the star-studded fundraiser. This is the one, infamously, that Joe Biden had to be escorted, off stage with Barack Obama. The one that they told us was a deep fake. Well, according to the book, many of the aides said that Obama had to keep by Biden's side. He had to stay by Biden's side, and Biden would just talk and meander and talk about stuff incoherently, and Barack Obama had to jump in and finish his sentences when he started to trail off. And number 4, which is the piece de résistance, Biden didn't recognize actor George Clooney. George Clooney said, "Hi, Mr. President." Joe Biden says, "How are you?" "How was your trip?" Clooney asked. "It was fine." It seemed clear the president had not recognized George Clooney, and that may have been a blow to his ego. He may have said, "Hey, Mr. President, you know me? Sexiest man alive, People magazine, 4 times for crying out loud. Don't you know who I am?" Joe Biden said, Yeah, young fella. Yeah, you're the guy who drives my car, right?" Let's get a check on the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher, who's in the BPS traffic center. Where's my car, Sonny? Where's my car?
I never watch movies, as you know. I would even recognize George Clooney.
Exactly.
And I'm not all there either, so that's not good. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 84 eastbound, you got delays a mile before 46 Sisson Avenue down into the tunnel. Westbound 84 is slowing, approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 46 Sisson Avenue. Southbound 91 delays 35 down to 32 A and B. Northbound 91 looks good. 291 eastbound slowing. I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbound's okay. Glastonbury to Marlboro. Both sides of 9 a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. If you're traveling 84 eastbound, a little tight traffic. 26 down to the 691 interchange in Cheshire. Westbound 84 in Waterbury slowing 23 up to the Mixmaster. 95 South New Haven slowing 46 to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
A cloudy night ahead, remaining mild with the low down to 54. Lots of clouds as we head through our Wednesday. A couple of showers, too, so you may want to take your umbrella. The high 67. Cloudy, mild, passing shower or 2 Wednesday night. Thursday, still a couple of showers around and remaining cloudy, but the high up to 74. Friday, variably cloudy, thunderstorm in parts of the area. Some of those could be packing a bit of a wallop and producing flooding downpours and localized damaging wind gusts. A high of 80 Friday. Saturday, humid. A partly sunny day, a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon, the high 81. Sunday looking better, partly sunny, dry, less humid, breezy in the afternoon, the high 78. Right now, it's 63 in New Haven, 66 in Waterbury, 67 Danbury, 70 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Join us this Sunday for Tumalo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father-son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumalo Financial, retirement planning with integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
Here's a few from California Psychics. Do your workdays seem to go on forever? Is your career progression as fast as downtown traffic? Or does your boss still not know your name?
Hey, you, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay?
It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
It's time to read the career warning signs and talk to California Psychics. We're always on hand to give you the career guidance you need. You see, we only connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. So you could soon be telling your boss where to stick that report.
Where are you?
Yeah, Tim.
Terry!
Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Drop it.
A little more from the book here, and this is the George Clooney thing, because I just for time I couldn't read it, but here's the exchange George Clooney had with him. He says, you know, George, the assisting aide told President Joe Biden, reminding him who was in front of him. Yeah, the president said to one of the most recognizable men in the world, the host of the lucrative fundraiser. Thank you for being here. Hi, Mr. President, George Clooney says. Joe Biden says, how are you? Clooney says, how was your trip? President says it was fine. It seemed clear that the president had not recognized Clooney. The president said, no, George Clooney says it was not okay, recalled the Hollywood VIP who had witnessed that moment. Said that moment where you recognize someone you know, especially a famous person who's doing a freaking fundraiser for you, it was delayed. It was uncomfortable. George Clooney, the aides clarified for the president, to which Biden responds, oh yeah, hi George. Clooney was shaken to his core. The president hadn't recognized him, a man that he had known for years. I'm going to tell you that was clearly ego on George Clooney's part. I know that George Clooney said, do you know who I am? You don't recognize, oh yeah, this guy's got to go. That is embarrassing. That's just sad. And now that that's out, I mean, George Clooney is going to, of course, if they do another interview with him, because he did this whole thing about his play and talking about the op-ed that he wrote, I'm sure that if someone gets a hold of him, they're going to ask him about that. It was like, did he not recognize you? He was like, yeah, he didn't recognize me. Go figure. Me, George Clooney. 860-522-WTIC. Mike in Plainville, how are you, sir?
If I ever encountered George Clooney, I would not acknowledge him in any way, shape, or form. He's just not worth it. I would not even look at the man.
I'm trying to figure out why.
There he is.
Why would he even think that? You're breaking up. Mike, go ahead. Oh no. All right, yeah, no. I'm looking at that whole thing going. I mean, it probably is. If I'm looking at this from 30 feet back on television, that moment where Obama grabs Biden's hand and leads him off stage, seeing that is enough. I didn't need, because you know how there are some things where you see a picture and then somebody leads the witness, right? Like, what was that stupid thing? Do you remember that stupid thing, Roland, with the picture of the dress where people were saying that it's white or it's blue? And
oh, no.
Okay, it was a stupid thing that was online that everyone was having. It's like, no, it's blue. I'm like, oh, whatever. If you lead someone into thinking it, like if you tell someone what they're about to hear or what they're about to see, their mind is already fixated on the thing that they're going to see. So that's what I call leading the witness. And so I didn't have to say anything. That I was sitting in the office one day, the mute button's on the television, and I see Barack Obama grab Joe Biden's arm, and I go, whoa, and I immediately turn the volume on. What's this about? And that was the moment that I know. I was like, whoa, this guy can't even, like, he's stunned. Like one of those old guys that if you put like a flashing light in front of him, a deer in headlights. That's what he was. And the Obama thing, That was even crazier. Said the video of former President Barack Obama guiding Biden off stage at a June 15th, 2024 fundraiser. This is what, a week before the debate? A little more than a week before the debate? Biden seemingly froze for several seconds. It got a lot of attention at the time. But according to Tapper and Thompson, it was not the only time that at that night that Obama needed to step in and rescue the man who served as his vice president. Initially, Obama chalked it up to Biden's struggles that night to a taxing schedule. But in time, the authors wrote, Obama would come to realize that scheduling was not the fundamental problem. Quote from the book, Obama did not know what to make of how his former running mate was acting. At one point, in a small group of a few dozen top donors, Biden began speaking, barely audibly, and trailed off incoherently. Obama had to jump in and preside. At other moments during the photos, Obama would hop in and finish sentences for him. This had to be when the donors said, we're not giving him any more money. That had to be it. Because if he was in front of donors, the donors had to be, at that point, say, no, we're not giving him any more money. Get rid of him or get rid of yourselves. But he's not getting another dime. And they still had him do the debate. Well, it was already scheduled at that point, so they had to do the debate. But Jake Tapper, he's saying that the White House lied.
You have an entire White House press corps, though, following him around. And I'm just curious as to whether or not this kind of trying to hide what was happening with the president at the time had an impact on the press corps. Like, why didn't we hear some of these details from what they actually saw and were dealing with trying to get information?
Well, Alex Thompson and I were on the case, as were lots of other reporters, trying to figure out what was going on behind the scenes. But bottom line is the White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public, but they were lying to members of their own cabinet. They were lying to White House staffers. They were lying to Democratic members of Congress, to donors about how bad things had gotten. And in fact, Alex and I started writing this book after the election of 2024, and we spoke with more than 200 people, most of whom, almost all of whom.
This is interesting. They spoke to over 200 people, most of them Democrats. Jake Tapper describes the conditions of which they would talk to them on the book.
Were Democrats, and almost all of whom wouldn't be honest with us or wouldn't be candid with us until after the election. And then after the election, we found out all of these things that when you looked at what was going on with President Biden at the time, it probably doesn't surprise you the extent to which he was deteriorating. But now we have anecdotes and facts about what was really going on behind the scenes with details that Democrats wouldn't share with us until after Election Day.
So in essence, they were saying that he would have to lose, or she would have to lose, I should say, before they were going to spill the beans. They weren't going to be honest. This is the core part of all of this. And I want you to understand, this is the core part of all of this for Democrats. They had no intention of being honest with the American people until it was too late, until it was all said and done, until Biden, for that matter, Kamala, were out of power. They were going to hold this close to the chest. They weren't going to be honest with the American people because it wasn't about you. It wasn't about the American people. This was about power. And remember, Biden is the nominee, they told us. There was nothing to worry about. Biden is the nominee.
So I think that the president's made it clear that he's not leaving the race. So what I think that the conversations are happening in Rehoboth, I think he's recovering from COVID and probably resting and doing what people do when they're sick.
Listen, I haven't made it abundantly clear. I am 10 toes down, 100% riding with Biden.
President Biden, as I've said repeatedly, is our nominee. He has a tremendous track record of success.
What I'm hearing, 85% of the people that have contacted me are all in for the president.
85%, Jim Clyburn says. They're all in for the president. According to Jake Tapper, not so much. Donald says, Reese, you were talking as if Biden is still the president or running for re-election. Why don't you talk about the present administration? See, folks? See what I mean? What did I tell you at the beginning of the show? That's what happens when you come in late, Donald. I predicted that that's exactly what Democrats would do. Move on. Don't talk about this. Why are we still litigating this? Here's why. It's the same reason why people believe that the Democrat Party was not the party of slavery, wasn't the party that filibustered the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It's the same reason why they think that the party switched in the 1960s, even though a reputed Klansman recruiter was the dean of the Senate and had 3 Democrats speak at his funeral: Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Bubba. Bill Clinton, for those of you in Rio Linda. Yeah, that's right. That man went into the Senate, went into Congress as a Democrat, left as a Democrat. It's because of that I've got to tell you bozos every damn day that how could it be that a party switched if Orville Faubus was the guy who was the mentor to Bill Clinton and Orville Faubus was a known segregationist? How is it that one of the people who filibustered the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is none other than Al Gore Sr. of Tennessee? And his son, Al Gore Jr., the inconvenient truth of that bozo is both of them are Democrats. I thought the party switched, ladies and gentlemen. I thought the party switched. But it's because you guys don't want to talk about it. That's how you get to lie. It's the reason why you want me to move on. Why would I do that? I want this in your head every day. I want you to sit back and watch it. You may be done with it, but I'm not done. The President of the United States did not serve the people of the United States. And we know that now. They were talking about getting a man a wheelchair. They were keeping him sheltered from his staff. That's one of the things that are revealed in this book. Let me read it to you. Top aides said that they didn't want, here it is, Biden's top aides tried to hide him from his own staff. From his own staff. Who was running the White House? Who was running it? Who was the President of the United States? Usually there are things like treason that come to play. Nobody's moving on. You can beg me to. Here, I'll give you some advice, Donald. You move on. You can do whatever you want. I'm not. I'm riding this till the wheels fall off. I'm riding this till somebody's in handcuffs. Because what this is the biggest scandal. Listen, you guys, you held us up for 3 years over a Russian scandal that was nonsense, bogus, and was made up with innuendo and bar talk by some so-called FBI informant named Christopher Steele. We had to endure that. For how many years? No evidence, even after the fact, after the Mueller report, where there was no evidence of such. What did we get? Yeah, we still know he's a Russian agent. Ask Adam Schiff. Ask that bozo, Chris Murphy, who's still telling people that he was compromised by Russia. Move on? No, thank you. You move on. Try as you might. The only reason why you don't want us talking about it because this is an embarrassment to you. This is an embarrassment to your vote. And all the people that you trust, the ones that you trust more than you trust us, the ones that you swear by, the one that you hold your allegiance to, the ones you will never, ever forbid or ever, ever break away from, lied to you, the American people. These people are scum, and you don't want us to point it out because it embarrasses you. You take it personal. Of course you take it personal because while you're still up here trying to talk about how disingenuous we are, truth be told, that's who you are. So no, I'm not moving on. And I'm going to buy the book, and I'm going to read the book, and I'm going to report on the book. And I'm going to demand that this White House, I'm going to demand that this administration find who the culprits are and get them in the nice, shiny bracelets. That's what I'm hoping for, as are a lot of people. I am not alone in this. I have legions of people who listen to this show and legions of people who listen to me online who feel the same thing. Somebody's got to pay. Otherwise, what's the point? No one's above the law, right? Well, that's a two-way street. It's always going to be a two-way street. He lost. He quit. With everything that went on, from the gunshots to the riots to the burning down of communities to the murders, you think we're going to forget? Hell no. We lost everything. Everything. And you think we're just going to pack up our bags and just walk home? Screw that. Payback time, baby. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. This traffic report being brought to you by the Connecticut Prevention Network. If you're heading into Hartford right now and you're on the southbound side of I-91, look for delays from exit 34 down to 32 A and B. Another slowdown as you move down from 27 down to 28 on the Hartford Weather Shield line. Good ride 91 northbound, Cromwell up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is tight up approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound slowing about a mile before 46 Avenue into the tunnel. 291 eastbound slowing I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbound, some slow traffic coming off of I-84 out to exit 2B in East Hartford. If you're traveling into Middletown, 9 north and southbound, a little slow at the Aragoni. 84 eastbound Cheshire, you'll lose some speed between 26 and the 691 interchange. Westbound 84 in Waterbury, sluggish. 23 up to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound Danbury, slowing New York, Connecticut line out to exit 5. Again, slow traffic, sluggish and stop and go from 9 to 11 in Newtown. And southbound on the Parkway, you'll see slow traffic from exit 60 down in toward the West Rock Tunnel. Mental health struggles, substance misuse, feeling of hopelessness. No one should face them alone. If you or someone knows you need support, call or text 988 today to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Together, we can amplify our mental health. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, the rest of our Tuesday afternoon, lots of clouds around, but pleasant with the high up to 78. Cloudy skies tonight, remaining mild, the low down to 56. On Wednesday, lots of clouds around, a couple of showers, breezy, not as warm, but still pleasant temps, the high 69. Thursday, cloudy, we'll have a couple of showers around, the high of 74. A shower in spots on Friday morning, otherwise cloudy and warmer, the high of 81. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 5:30, Hartford temperature 73 degrees. Good afternoon, I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The man accused in the beating death of his female roommate in Groton has died. State Department of Correction says 68-year-old Donald Kofel's death was not considered suspicious. He was arrested last month for the death of 58-year-old Suzanne Wormser, whose remains were found back in March at Colonel Ledyard Cemetery. Police in Shelton have released the name of the person who died in a crash late Sunday night. Mandy Lassie was 37. They say that they responded to a two-vehicle crash at River Road and Montgomery Street just after 11 Sunday night. Lassie of Terryville was pronounced dead at Bridgeport Hospital. 7 arrests in connection with the burglary of a gun store in Wolcott last month. Bristol police working on the case with Wolcott officers making that announcement today. 3 of the suspects are juveniles. The other 4 are adults, and they're facing a number of charges. President Trump, in a speech in Saudi Arabia, urging Iran to take a new and better path as he pushes for a new nuclear deal. At a U.S.-Saudi investment conference, the president said he wants to avoid conflict with Tehran. Singer Cassie took the stand in her ex-boyfriend Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial today. That trial resumed in Manhattan. Combs accused of forcing women, including Cassie, into drugged-up sex parties. She testified she was injured a number of times due to multiple beatings at the hands of Combs. And a couple of sports shorts this afternoon. Pete Rose has been reinstated by Major League Baseball. The word today that the all-time hits leader, who was banished from the game 36 years ago for gambling, would be eligible for the Hall of Fame, perhaps as early as 2028. Also reinstated shoeless Joe Jackson, who, of course, was part of the Black Sox scandal in 1919. And the Celtics say star power forward Jason Tatum underwent successful surgery to repair a ruptured Achilles tendon. Tatum went down late in the fourth quarter of last night's Game 4 NBA East semi against the Knicks in New York after scoring 42 points. No timetable for his return, but the Celtics expect him to make a full recovery. And on Wall Street this afternoon, the Dow finished up down 269 points. NASDAQ was up 301. S&P gained 42. Red Sox and Detroit on TIC after the 6 p.m. news. Yanks continue their series in Seattle. The Mets are home to Pittsburgh. And the Yard Goats start a 6-game road trip in Binghamton. First pitch there at 7:10 on the Odyssey app. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hi, Tom Shattuck here. Nope, no bold political predictions. Today, instead, I'm making a bolder prediction. An opportunity, one might say. How about setting a goal to lose 40 pounds by the 4th with Awaken 180? Has a different ring to it when you have a finish line, right? 40 by the 4th. Imagine this. Your scale shows 240 today. How about watching that dip to a cool 200 by Independence Day? Or maybe it's reading over 300 like my scale did. How would it feel seeing 260 by the 4th and on your way to losing 80 pounds? Again, like I did with Awaken 180. Looking back, it took me only 5 weeks to drop my first 40. Of course, that's not the norm, but we'll just say I'm an overachiever. Regardless, if you set your goal and follow the program, you'll crush your goal by the 4th. Then ring Independence Day in. Shirt off, confident, martini and burger in hand. Celebrate reaching your goal, knowing you'll keep the weight off thanks to free support for life. 40 by the 4th. Set your goal and attain it with your long-term solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com.
We all hear the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800.
Here we go.
6480.
You expecting James?
Yeah. It's real solutions for real people.
WTIC News Talk 1080 is celebrating 100 years on the air.
Let's go to the phones real quick. James is on the line because we're talking about this Biden deal. James, your dad passed away due to Alzheimer's. I know this intimately. My ex-wife, her father, passed away due to Alzheimer's as well. He had both dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yeah, so my dad passed away, and when we saw Biden, when he went to get elected the first time around, there's just certain behavioral characteristics you look at. And we knew it when he was running against Trump. And we went, holy Christmas, like they're going to let this go. Like this guy has the initial stages of dementia and Alzheimer's, and you're going to put him up there.
Do you know
what type of thing?
You know how a lot of people were saying that they were equating his age with him lacking cognitive abilities. Like, in other words, he's just an older guy. He's a little slow on the curveball. You actually saw, like, can you name any, if you can remember, like some of the things that were indicative of what you saw from your father?
Absolutely. That blank stare, that not understanding direction and having to repeat things. And then they get that there's little modifications with their hands because they're unsure of where they are or where they're going. And that smile that just seems inappropriate. Right. At times, you're like, oh, okay, you can look at somebody and know, and we've all seen people that are on narcotics or on medications and they're not home. And you can look at Joe Biden and the way he shuffles. He didn't step, he shuffled, unsure of his balance.
Yes. I saw that. And I mean, I knew there was some sort of what I would consider the old man shuffle, the old man gestures. But the ones that stuck out to me, and tell me if you saw the same thing as well before we go to a break. The weird one for me, the big weird one, was the shaking the hand of no one who was there, and then twice talking about individuals who had passed away. One only a couple of months ago, but a world leader who had died in the 90s, for me, was like, whoa. Did you ever witness anything like that?
Yeah, those are some of the initial tests when they going for the initial Alzheimer's and dementia tests are date, time. Do you know what year it is? Do you know what president is? Go backward and forward a little bit in time. And they just stumble because the linear mindset is eroding. It just doesn't connect the way it used to.
Yeah,
I don't understand how a family lets, these, like Joe Biden, despite what you might think of him as a president, deserves some respect and compassion. Not denial and exploitation. I go.
Yeah, you want to. You know what,
earlier,
James? Let me tell you this, but before I go, I was calling it elder abuse in 2021, and I got raked over the coals. And they said, that's not right. They're not. And I agree with you. I think the people who knew him best knew he was under these conditions and let him sit out there and sort of fly in the wind. I think they just let him flail.
And that's what it is. Like you said, treason, and I look at this and go, this is treason of humanity. Families have a moral duty to protect vulnerable members.
Yeah,
not
indeed.
Exploit them.
Exactly.
That's
Thank
awful. Like, and you want to cherish that? Get out of here with that nonsense.
Exactly. Thank you, James. I appreciate you. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hi, Reese. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. If you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, southbound side of 91, some slow traffic, 33 down at 32 A and B, and again, 29A down through exit 28. Looks good, 91 northbound, Cromwell up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up, approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound, got slow traffic about a mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. 291 eastbound, slowing I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 westbound, some tight traffic from 1D up to the 84 West merge in East Hartford. Heading toward Middletown, 9 north and southbound, you lose a little speed at the Ariconi Bridge. 84 westbound, Waterbury slowing 22 to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound in Cheshire, a little tight down by the 691 interchange. Look for some slow traffic now on the eastbound side of 84 New York, Connecticut line out to the area of exit 5. Also, some slow traffic on the westbound side of I-84 in Danbury. Looks like there's an accident now on the westbound side near the area of exit 4. So you're seeing some slow traffic behind that, back to let's call it exit 5 in Danbury. Behind that, if you're heading down in toward New Haven right now, 91. Southbound's a little slow, 3 down in toward the 95 interchange, and 95 southbound delays 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Cloudy tonight, the low dropping down to 54. Heading in through the day Wednesday, a thick cloud cover, a couple of showers around, so you may want to take your umbrella. Otherwise, breezy, the high 67. Thursday, cloudy, couple of showers around. Warmer, though, the high up to 74. Friday, going to be an active day. Thunderstorm in parts of the area. Some of those could produce some flooding, downpours, and localized damaging wind gusts. Otherwise, warm and humid with the high up to 80. Saturday, a humid day, still partly sunny. A thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. Still warm, too, the high back to 81. Sunday, nice day, partly sunny, less humid. Dry, breezy in the afternoon, the high of 78. Right now, it's 70 in Meriden, 64 in Waterbury, 70 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
At Columbia Dental, we love to make kids smile. Our expert pediatric dentists specialize in children's dental care, making every visit fun and comfortable. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Are you looking for an easy way to get a daily detox? Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. You can find Active Liver in the vitamin aisle at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
Seems everything costs more these days. Groceries? And when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions. Quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're almost out of here. White Mike is joining the show before we get out of here. What do you got, boss?
Oh, man. Well, a couple things. There's a rumor circulating that the Los Angeles Lakers are going to trade Bronny James to the Mavericks in exchange for their number one pick in the draft.
Bronny James to the Mavericks.
Yep, in exchange for their number one pick.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's fake news, man.
Cooper Flag and basketball fans should be storming David Silver's house with pitchforks and torches because it ain't supposed to work like that. You're not supposed to be a great team and then get a generational talent the next year. It's unfair. But anyway, this thing with the South African refugees.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Who've been let in. I watched a bunch of talking heads.
Yeah.
And I don't know, a lot of them were black, of course, but then there were some other people from a certain ethnic group who were complaining about these people, saying, well, they have a legacy of racism. It's like, everybody does, dude. Are you kidding me? That's the world. These people should be allowed in and given deals on farmland. We should send them to Mississippi and Alabama and let them revitalize Southern agriculture.
I thought what was
nothing but
interesting
beneficial.
here was this exchange. I think Scott Jennings had mentioned this. Let me see if this is the one. Let me play this.
The South African.
Was this it? No, I think it was Scott Jennings in this one. Okay, it's probably not going to play. Anyway, but it was Scott Jennings who said on CNN, I think last night, which I thought was poignant on his part, was that I've got no time for a bunch of people complaining about 59 people from South Africa coming into the United States while they said nothing about the worst of the worst coming in for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
I saw that clip with the girl who kind of had a jerry curl.
Yeah.
She was a former Obama person.
No, former Biden.
But she was so freaking stupid that she said, well, why don't they come here? Why don't they go to where they're from?
Yes.
Like Germany. Like, you retard. Germans didn't colonize South Africa. Dutch did. And when they got there, you know who was there? Nobody. Nobody lived in South Africa when they showed up. The people who live there now, the blacks, came there after the white people made it better. They didn't live in South Africa because it was too cold.
But now here's the thing, because I thought about you as I was watching this. And look, it goes without saying. They have their government. They've established their government. Apartheid is done. And they are going to rule all of South Africa. Obviously, they are taking that land back, as their constitution has allowed them to do. Whites are clearly going to, pack up their bags and get out. Otherwise, they're going to be killed because that's a part of their constitution now. So apparently nobody's stopping that. People are going to get killed if they don't leave. So they have to leave. So they go. I don't think, no offense, but look, the people who are taking over this farmland, it has been reported in South Africa that many of them don't even know what they're doing. They're saying that this farmland and this society, new as it may be, won't survive a generation.
Well, we already saw it happen in Rhodesia.
Exactly.
I mean, when Rhodesia was Rhodesia, it was the breadbasket of Africa, and it fed all those other crappy little nations.
Right.
Once they ran the white people out, it's collapsed. The same thing's going to happen in South Africa. And the really sad thing is there are South Africans, white ranchers, who have devoted their lives to saving endangered species, like the black rhino. The black rhino is hunted for its horn.
That's right.
Because the horn is valuable in Chinese medicine.
Right.
Well, this one guy has brought him back from extinction, and when he goes, the Africans are going to go in and kill every single black rhino
and
to
sell
sell
them.
the horn.
Exactly.
100%. So all these people, like I dealt with some white guy from South Africa who lived in Cape Town today, and he said, well, it's all overblown. It's not real. But he lives in Cape Town, which is the bougiest, safest city in South Africa. South Africa's terrible, dude. Those people, when they break into the farmhouses, they're not there just to steal. They kill people in horrible ways. It is a genocide. Like, their big thing, they like to boil babies to death.
Yep.
They broke it in and taken white babies and boiled them to death.
People do not.
These people
Let me tell you something, Mike. This is something that people fail to recognize. And I know right now I'm about to touch the third rail because I am about to implicate none other than Nelson Mandela and Winnie Mandela when I say what I'm about to say. Exactly. But do you remember what Winnie Mandela's very revolutionary group used to do to their enemies? Do you know what they used to do to them, to torture them? For those of you who don't know, they would put a car tire, around the person's neck, doused in gasoline, and set it ablaze. That was how they dealt with their rivals. Winnie Mandela's group, okay? That was the way in which they dealt with their enemies. They are very, very brutal.
What the West did to South Africa is an absolute shame. We destroyed a first world nation with 400 years of history because they chose to handle their society in a way that worked. I don't care what you say. Black people were better off under apartheid because at least they weren't getting murdered in the street all the time because the white people didn't put up with that nonsense.
I'll put it to you this way, though. Let's notwithstanding about the apartheid part, because I understand where you're saying from, in essence, the sense of order, because one extreme begets another, because, of course, that's where we are today. We get rid of apartheid in South Africa, and everybody thinks that everything's going to go peachy keen because the so-called region is free, and look where we are today. I'm not going to say that we need to go back to the other extreme. However, you do have to take into consideration that, truth be told, whatever you want to say about apartheid, its opposition to it was no less extreme than the apartheid. You know what I mean? It was like they were dealing with a violent faction in opposition to it. It wasn't a bunch of people who were sitting on their laurels and saying, if we're in control, we'll be far better individuals. They were not. They were far brutal.
As a Southerner, I've seen it happen in our country, in my region. I've seen wonderful Southern cities like Birmingham and Memphis and Jackson and Baton Rouge and New Orleans and Atlanta turn into hellholes because we lost American apartheid. Okay. Sorry. You Northern people didn't like the way we did stuff, but we ran orderly societies and things were safe.
But
when you guys stepped in and messed with our system,
how about this?
Look what
Listen to this, okay? Because everybody's going to go nuts behind this. But here's what I'm saying. First of all, about Northern and Southern apartheid. Here's the deal. I didn't like any of what was considered Jim Crow on its base. But let me say this. It didn't change the fact that what was going on there, the brutality, let's just deal with that. The brutality of the South is never going to make all of Jim Crow look romantic. That's the reason why. And when you talk about Jim Crow, the only way people are going to look at that, and again, please don't get the impression that I'm celebrating or romanticizing Jim Crow. What I'm saying is that you have to take it all in for what it is, not separate it and romanticize it. It isn't. It all goes under the same umbrella.
Well,
it was brutal.
Bro,
it was brutal as a practice, is what I'm saying, White Mike.
Yeah, but you can't have an omelet unless you break some eggs, bro. And sometimes you got to bring the heavy-handed justice down and just keep that nonsense confined to that community. Like, we didn't really care if the brothers were offing each other in the ghetto over dice games.
They sure
But
didn't.
you can't be going into pretty white girls' houses and killing for their credit cards. That's unacceptable. Keep your nonsense to yourself.
First of all, you're never going to have a functioning society if you just allow it to happen in the ghetto. But I think a part of that is the fact that there has to be somebody in the region of the ghetto, so to speak, that sees their world as being upside down and wanting to maintain some form of order.
They just leave, dude. They leave.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as they make it, those people go live with crackers.
I'll leave you with this, and I thought this was an interesting study. Thomas Sowell talked about this, and I have to find the book. I keep saying I'm going to find the book, but I always forget. He does this one study in one of his books where he talks about post-World War II, and he talks about black men who went to Mississippi and black men who stayed in Germany. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay, so it's an interesting study. Apparently, they had followed these group of black men, some who stayed in Germany and some who went to Mississippi. And after following them for 20 years, they looked at their children and what their education or lifestyle levels were 20 years later. And the soldiers who went to Mississippi, their children ended up having low grade point averages, no college, and no education to speak of. Right? And they lived in squalor. Many of them could barely afford their own home. However, the African-American men in Germany flourished. The kids stayed on par with the school kids that they went to school with. They had, on par grade point average, all went to college and university and went on to have successful lives. According to Thomas Sowell, and this is the way he looks at it, he says the difference between the two is that the black men who raised their children in Germany did not have a ghetto culture to dumb down to. In essence, that was normalized in Mississippi, right? It was romanticized and normalized in Mississippi. But if you don't have that in Germany, you have nothing to denigrate yourselves to, right? You had nothing to devolve into. You have to.
And the Germans wouldn't tolerate it either.
Say again?
The Germans wouldn't have tolerated it either.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't have a ghetto. They didn't have a ghetto to sort of devolve into in Germany for these families. Now they do. Oh, yes.
Our culture has changed the world. All right, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I did want to talk about that, what was going on in South Africa. Those 59 families are coming in, and boy, are Democrats apoplectic about it, which shows you the complete opposite craziness of all of this. They're at detention centers begging for the release of gangbangers and farmers who are feared for their lives. The only difference is the fact that they're white. They don't want them in the country. Nope, don't bring them. Send them to European countries. They shouldn't be allowed to let them in. Donald Trump just wants a white-centric, white national. Oh, it's so despicable. I don't know. It shows exactly how horrible these people have become. It just is. I can't even stand to watch it anymore. Sometimes, I watch it and I just go, ugh. Like, I feel for them in some way. It's like, you really, really want to do this to yourself? But they do. Tomorrow's show is this James O'Keefe thing I've been promising to talk about. It's gone a little off the rails, and I had a conversation with somebody on the inside. I want to talk about that, who's very concerned about James O'Keefe. And the stories that he's been claiming that, he's under some sort of death watch or in hiding, these stories don't seem to be living up to the hype. And so I'm going to tell you about my conversation with an insider who knows James O'Keefe, worked with James O'Keefe, and what their assessment of this is. I'll keep them anonymous as well. But our conversation I had with them a couple of days ago talking about what's going on with him, if you've been following that. Also, tomorrow in the opening monologue, how would you feel if the house you built for your children, they despised of? Think about that. What if you had built a home for your children and they grew up to hate the home that you built for them? I'll explain what that means when we return tomorrow. Plus a whole bunch of other news and views and everything that's under the sun. We'll get to that as well. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And thank you for hanging out with us today. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the Radio. You, make sure you check out the show anytime you like at reeseontheradio.com. It'll be uploaded roughly in about an hour. And you can check out the show anytime you like thereafter. Follow us on Rumble, Facebook, X, and I think that's it. Yeah, and LinkedIn. All right? We'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's get another check of our weather and traffic this evening with Jason Caterina and Mark Christophers in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. 91 southbound slowing by 33 Jennings Road. Again, 27 down to 28. Looks quiet. Northbound 91 Cromwell up in Windsor. 84 eastbound losing a little speed. 46 up to 48 Capitol Avenue. No problems. Westbound 84 burning out into Farmington. 291 384 looking good east of the river.
See you
Two
mañana.
eastbound's okay. Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet.
Yo, yeah, my bad. Joey got me doing some extra shit, so I was trying to work on that shit.
That was
All right, no
Danbury.
biggie.
Delays from
I'll
7 down
see
to 4
you
in accident.
mañana. I'll
Reported
talk
at-
to you then.
Enjoy your night, man.
All right, man,
Playing
you
from
too.
the New York Connecticut line out to.
All right, everybody. It's been a blast. I hope you guys had fun, too. Time to get up out of here. Y'all be good. Stay out of trouble.